John Kincade Show on 97.5, The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
The 2021 Braves took a very similar path to what the Phillies are being asked to do, because you're saying to yourself, man, not many people thinking that the Phillies are knocking off the Braves. You were looking for, the great predictions, Bob, the teams, who do the experts pick? And it seems like it's not very popular.
No, I didn't see one of the experts from a lot of different places. Sports Illustrated, CBS, nobody picked the Phillies to win
and
this series.
Understand why.
Sure.
I mean, there are certain things that I believe about this series that don't work. But think of it this way. Last year, the Braves were an 88-win team, okay? They did not even start the play. They did not have home field advantage in any series, and they won the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
They beat a favored Milwaukee team after falling down 1-0 in the divisional series. They took it in 4, but they started on the road. They didn't have home field advantage in the divisional series. Then the league championship series, they were up 3-1 on the Dodgers, then up 3-2, and then they won the series 4-2. And then they had to take on the Houston Astros. And the Astros, they once again, against a favorite Astros team, took care of business. So if you're saying to yourself, well, I don't know if I believe the Phillies could win a divisional series, a World Series, a league championship series when they're not favored. The Braves just showed you last year you could do this, and they did it with an 88-win club. And they did it without their best player, Ronald Acuna Jr., and they did it without their best pitcher, Mike Soroka. So, and those were only 2 of the injuries that they suffered. So if you're thinking that you're just going into the day going, man, I'm happy to be here. Don't just be happy to be here. The Braves showed you last year it can be done. You can take care of business when you're not favored, and you're not favored in 3. They weren't favored against the Cardinals, and they won it. Last year, the Braves won 3 series, not favored, and they won a World Series. It can be done. But, Bob, they're going to need things to improve quickly. And that's the difference.
Yeah, you need people to get hot at the plate. I mean, we look at what they did last year. Freddie Freeman and Riley and all those guys. What they did was they came out and just showed, okay, the national baseball team. Like Connor and I, we were walking in today and talking about the series, and we both said it simultaneously that Atlanta's just a machine. They're just a machine, up and down the lineup, and it's just you never get a break. And I think you said today about. Sometimes in that Cardinals lineup, you were facing 3 guys that you would say, okay, here's a little bit of a break here. You don't really get that against Atlanta. Can the Phillies become that? It's funny. I made this point, I think, last week about how national media kind of looks to Phillies and they'll just say, man, that could be a great hitting club. They could be trouble because watch out. They have Castellanos and Harper and Schwarber and all those heavy hitting guys. Well, we know that the bats have been pretty silent lately. And sure enough, I read it this morning when I was going over all of these national picks. I saw it a handful of times. Watch out. That Phillies lineup can be scary. Okay. We haven't. When was the last time the Phillies lineup was scaring us?
A while.
Putting up runs.
It was when Harper was out.
There are 500 last 30-plus games.
Harper was out. And I'm not blaming Harper for him coming back, and because there are other guys who were worse since he returned. Pat, do you know the Braves lineup? Though it seems like a relentless lineup. Do you know who leads the Braves in batting average? I don't know if you think average really matters, but do you know who leads them in batting average?
I would guess Swanson.
Yeah, 277.
Okay.
And that's surprising to you a little bit?
Yeah.
Yes, 277 should not be leading.
Austin Riley is their second in the starting lineup. 273.
Where's Olsen?
240.
Really? Okay.
Remember, he's been a black hole.
Not against the Phillies.
But for 2 months, he has been the guy that has been highly criticized in Atlanta. He's been the guy they've been attacking and getting on because of the obsession with Freddie Freeman is part of it. But Olsen, 34 home runs, 103 runs knocked in. But he puttered out. Like he went on a hot stretches earlier, and he's somebody who is in the spotlight. Ronald Acuna, 266.
And he's coming off an injury.
Exactly.
But in Riley, Swanson, and Olson, I would think you probably have guys. You might have 3 guys that have over 90 RBIs.
Swanson, 96.
Yeah.
All right, 96 runs batted in on 25 home runs, too.
Yeah.
And he is clutch. Like the series that they had to go battle the Mets at the end of the year, Swanson, every single game had a home run. He's relentless, and and it's sort of obnoxious because he just, at big moments, he is their clutch guy. He's led Major League Baseball. He's led Major League Baseball 2 of the last 4 years in batting average after the 7th inning. So Dansby Swanson is a guy who's going to be a really tough out. But Riley, to me, is still the boogeyman in that lineup.
Yeah,
And
you love him.
I think Austin Riley I think he's so clutch. And I think he's a guy with 38 home runs and doubles power. He's the guy that I really thought we were getting with Schwarber and Castellanos.
I was talking to Olivia recently.
Yes.
About the new Halloween movies coming out.
Really? Because you two are both cinephiles.
Yeah. Is it true that the last time they had a Halloween movie, you were disappointed because the villain wasn't Austin Riley and it was...
Do you mean when the mask was... when Jamie Lee Curtis took the mask off?
Yeah, it was just Jason Voorhees.
Yeah,
Were you upset about that?
A little. I mean, because he's the one I'm most worried about in this
She said you walked out of the room and said, this is ridiculous. Austin Riley's way more scary than this dude.
I tell you, after watching the last 2 series of the year, I wonder if Acuna is the guy, though. I mean, I already know what kind of a player he is.
Well, what he did against he won games against the Phillies this year by himself in the field at the plate. You can just go up and down. I mean, you can go Riley, Olson, Acuna. It doesn't matter. The way you go through this lineup, somebody can hurt you all the time.
They have such a better defensive team. And to me, that concerns me also.
I mean, I don't know. Have you seen Alec Boehm lately?
Yes, I'm
very hot right now.
He has been.
So hot.
No,
Phillies third in the league, least errors.
They haven't really been nearly as bad as we thought they were going to be.
Here's where that stat means crap.
No, and I'm not even looking at the error thing. I'm literally looking at just watching the games. They haven't been nearly as bad as I think we thought they were going to be. I thought they were going to be butchers, and they're...
Yes, you're right about that.
They haven't been Gold Glovers, but they haven't been butchers like I thought they were going to be.
When you don't get to a ball, you don't get an error.
It's a good point.
When you don't even... Like, an error stat means nothing to me.
Johnny Baseball over here.
I mean, seriously.
I think Stott has some range. He's okay up the middle. I don't mind his range. Segura does. We all know Segura doesn't. He's a good glove, but he doesn't have the range. Now, Boehm looks like he's getting a little bit of range. Like he's making plays down the line and in the hole. He's come on really well. And Hoskins is going to be Hoskins at first. I'm surprised how much better they are defensively than we thought they were going to be this year.
Oh, they certainly aren't as hard. Let's put it this way: they aren't as horrible as I thought they'd be. But you don't get an error when you don't get to a ball. So I just think the error statistic shows you even more. They don't even get close to being able to make errors on balls. That they don't do that. Here, by the way, a very good source covering the Braves has shared with me that the plan will be Fried, and it's Kyle Wright in the second game, which I don't know if you'd rather face Kyle Wright or Charlie Morton. Which one you'd prefer?
I would rather have Charlie Morton.
I'd rather have Charlie Morton also. That I was told that if the Braves are up 2-0, that most likely they would go to Charlie Morton in Game 3. If the Braves are in a 1-1 series, they will most likely try to see if they can get to Spencer Strider.
Yeah.
So Strider, they would hope to maybe give Strider the series off.
Wow.
That they would hope to be able that if they can be up 2-0, you most likely won't be seeing Cheesy Mustache on Game 3. They would save it for potentially Game 4.
It's interesting, and that's gutsy. I mean, the guy hasn't pitched in a while.
Yes.
He's put in a lot of innings, over 130 innings this year for him, which he's never done before.
Absolutely.
Started the year as a bullpen guy.
Yes.
And then now is kind of their number one starter. It's a big loss for them. And a big gain for he owns the Phillies.
He's dominated
he's dominated far the Phillies.
A lot of teams this year.
Yeah. Yeah, so that is a big loss for them.
That was I'm going to give you a direct quote because this person may write this. They would prefer to not have to use Strider. And a 2-0 series lead would allow them to at least contemplate not using him in Game 3. So
contemplate. They're not using them at all in Game 3. If they have a 2-0,
if they have a 2-0 lead, you think they won't
contemplate?
Use them.
Yeah, they're not using them. Because as you said before, the idea of you have to rattle off a sweep after that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's tough.
Hey, you may not always need it.
The John Kincade Show on 97.5, The Fanatic, Philadelphia.